Welcome to Run TV Social. So today we are going to learn about GitHub. So first of all, what is GitHub? Why most of the companies use GitHub? GitHub is a source code repository. Most of the companies they store their application code into a particular tool called GitHub. So why GitHub is so important? Because GitHub let you store your uh, application code and it lets you versioning your application code. So that is the main reason most of the companies uses GitHub. So today what we are going to learn today. So we are going to learn a basic GitHub commands and how we can connect to our GitHub from our terminal or from our Git Bash, and we'll play with the basic GitHub commands, and we'll create a sample repository, and we'll clone the repository and we'll commit the changes to remote repository. So I just logged into my GitHub account. It's free. When you sign up for your GitHub account, it's free, and you should choose the public. The private might charge something, but you don't need any private because you don't have any sensitive data over here. Okay, I just logged into my GitHub account, and I just opened my terminal. So in order to connect to your GitHub remotely, there are two ways. One way is HTTPS. You can clone your repository as a username and a password. HTTPS is nothing but username and a password authentication. When you open like a facebook.com, right, you should be providing your username and a password in order to authenticate the Facebook server. The same thing when you try to clone your repository using HTTPS, and when I said HTTPS means like this. Let's say for example, let me go to this sample repository, and this is how you clone the repository. You see that? So you can clone using HTTPS, you can clone using SSH, and you could use GitHub CLI. They do have a client, and you could use that GitHub CLI in order to make changes like a commits and a push and a pull and things like that. So what we will do today, we'll try to authenticate this GitHub using SSH. And in order to do that, you should need two SSH keys. One is public and one is private. So to generate SSH keys, you should use SSH-keygen, which will let you generate one public key and one private key. And so those keys will be downloaded in .ssh folder with the name of ID RSA, and I'll be okay with that. I don't want to change anything, and I will just click enter, and let me clear my screen, and let's go to .ssh folder. That's where the keys has been downloaded, and I'm in .ssh folder. Let me do pwd. I'm in .ssh folder. If I do list, yeah, there is a one public key. This is id dot pub is the public key, and this is the private key. So you will be adding this public key to the GitHub account. So when you try to clone the repository using SSH, it will look for this private key. So this public key and this private key will be the pair. So this public key is in the GitHub account, and this private key, you have the private key. So you will be automatically get authentication when you try to clone the repositories. So what I would do is, let me chat that public key, and let me copy this public key so that I will add this public key to GitHub. So how we can add SSH keys is, you can click on your profile settings, click on profile and go to settings. In the left side you will see SSH and GPG keys, and this is SSH. We'll click on SSH. When you paste it, right guys, make sure you're not copying any spaces. spaces and everything, they will be counted as a characters in shell. We know that already. So let me add this SSH key. Now what I will do is I will create a repository and I can try to clone that repository. So these are the existing repositories, but I just wanted to let you know how we can create repositories as well. So to do that, click on new, just repository, and the repository name is GitHub training, GitHub underscore training, I can say. And I'll just, this is a public repository, and what I will do is, yeah, just the repository has been created. Now I can clone this repository using SSH, because we already add our SSH public key to our remote repository, remote GitHub account, and we have the private key in our local. So when we try to access this, let me copy this. I think it will be copied. So the first command we should be using, let me get out of from here, and let me go to the sample repository that I did created here earlier. So the first command to clone the repository is git clone and the repository URL. This is SSH URL. Click enter. And are you sure you want to continue connecting? I would say yes. And if I do ls, you see that GitHub training, that is the remote repository that I just created. So let me go to that remote repository, and it's empty. I don't have anything over here. So what I will do now, I will add a file. What command we will use in order to create a file? Touch. Okay. And git underscore, I'll create a file called git underscore training dot txt. This is a simple text file. Now I can add some content, and what I will do, shift I, that will take you to insert mode. This is my first Git training file, and let me save it. How we can save it? Escape, shift colon, WQ, shift 1. That's how we save the content. Okay. And now if I do ls, there is a file. If I do cat file name, and this is my first Git training. Now let's commit these changes to our remote repository. For that, git add the file name, and then git commit. The next command is commit -m. -m will let you commit with a small commit message. What I will do is adding simple anything. You can write anything in the double quotations. Okay, adding first file. Okay. Now the next command that we should use, git push. Git push, and let's see. So the new branch has been created, which is a master branch. So there should be a branch, and if I do ls, and let me clear my screen, and let's go to that repository, and we will see a branch should be created. Let me refresh this screen. You see that there is a new branch created, and there is a new file which will be which push it to this repository. Okay. Now what we learn here, we learn how to create a repository, and we learn basic git commands, which is git add, git commit, and a git clone, and a git push. And now we will create a we will try to create a test branch. That's how the developers do. The developers create a test branch from the master branch, so they will have this test code in their branch already. So they will make their changes. If everything goes well, they will create a pull request to the master. So their managers or co-developers approve the pull request, and they migrate the code to the master branch. Then they release that master branch to the production environments, and we'll see. We'll create a branch from the terminal itself. Okay. how we can create a branch is, so in order to see which branch I am in, Git branch will tell you what branch you are in. Okay. Now I want to create a branch, but I want to check out to that branch. Okay. Git checkout -b will create a new branch and it will check you out to that branch. Okay. What I will call feature one. I'll call feature one, for example. Now, if I do git branch, I'm in feature one. And how many branches that I have? One master branch and one feature one. So if I do ls, I was given this git training.txt from where? From this master branch. Let's assume that this git training.txt have some application code and they have a username and a password and a date of birth. For example, application code, which will take username and a password and a date of birth, but they want us to add one more feature, maybe SSN number, or maybe first and last name and things like that. So what we can do is we can make those changes in our feature branch and we will push those changes and we'll see how does that work. Okay, let me open that file git and let me add some more content. Shift I, that will take you to the insert mode and enter. This is new feature has been created. Escape, shift colon WQ and shift 1, that will let you save that content. This content is in only feature branch, not in a master branch. We will see that. Okay, and the cat git training, you see that this is a new feature has been created, and git, we will add this content to our remote repository. Okay, git add git training.txt git commit, we will have a small commit message. New feature branch has been added, and we will push these changes. Git push will let you git push origin feature. We will provide the branch details where we are pushing the changes. Okay, so we push, you see the new branch. If we go to our repository, we should be, we'll be seeing like two branches. And let me refresh this. You see that if I drop down and there is one more branch called feature one. Okay, now let's go to feature one and I have this git training.txt with the updated version of code. Let's assume that this is a code, and if I go to the master, right, and this is only the previous code which is in production. Let's assume that this code is running in production. Now I want to make these changes. I want to make these changes to the master as well. In order to do that, what you need to do is you need to create a pull request. And let's go to the pull request. I don't have any pull request, right? Let's go to create a pull request. And from where we are creating a pull request? From feature one to the master. That's how we're making changes to the master branch. Okay, and so this is the file that is going to be merged to the master, and this is the change that we are trying to merge to this master. You will see the plus will indicate that this is the extra change that you have in your feature branch other than the master branch. Okay, and we'll hit create a pull request and create a pull request. Okay, now we created a pull request, and somebody, we can add reviewers over here. Okay, maybe co-workers and team members and the managers and things like that. And what they will do is they will take a look, they will go to number of files changed, and they will see the commits, what you have committed there and things like that. Then if everything goes well, what they will do is they will approve this pull request, then you will be able to merge your pull request. Confirm merge. Now the branch has been merged. Now if we go to the master branch, right, we should be seeing the updated changes. And let's go to master. Let's open this file. You see that this is a new feature has been created. So this is how most of the companies uses branching strategy. Now we will do the same thing from the terminal itself. Okay, so how let's create one more branch, git branch, or else let add same content to that same branch, add one more, create one more extra file in that branch, and let's try to add that as well. Okay, and let's do clear my screen, do ls, let me create one more file, and this is a second .txt, and let's add some content, second.txt, and shift I, we are merging the code from terminal. Let's say we're merging the code from terminal. Let's save it, and git status, that will tell you what are the changes that you just make, and you can add that change, second.txt, git commit -m, that will let you give small commit message, added second file, and a git push origin feature 1. Now the feature 1 should have two files, but the master branch, how many files should have? Only one, right? We'll see. Git checkout master. You see that? So if I do git checkout master, and that's how you will check out one branch to another branch. Git checkout and a branch name. So now the master branch has only one file. Now I wanted to merge the changes from here, from terminal itself. In order to do that, git merge feature 1. And you see that created mode. Now git add. The dot will let you add all the changes. I will just use git add a dot, and the git commit -m, changes have been merged to master. Just a small commit message, and a git push. Okay, and what we need to do is, in order to push first, we need to pull, because there are some changes since our last pull. So what it is saying is, in order to push, you need to pull the existing changes already. Remember, we merge some changes to the master using the pull request. So those changes needs to be pulled to the local. In order to do that, we'll just use git pull, and that will let you pull these changes. You can save them, and yeah, those changes has been pulled already. Now what we need to do is just use git push, and the new changes have been committed to the master branch. If we go there, if we go in the console, right, we will be seeing two files in a master branch as well. Let's go to master branch, and let's click on that here. You see that second.txt, we did not merge the second branch from here. We did merge the branch from terminal. Okay, these are the basic git commands we use. Most of the DevOps engineers, or most of the Linux administrators or developers, they use daily, every day. If you open your laptop, if you work, like, these are the commands that you should know. Okay, if you want to look at your work, Git Log will let you what you have done. You see that added second file, you you merge this branch and things like that. This will tell you each and everything that happened, each and everything that happened since you started working on this Git. That Git log will tell you. It will give you the complete logs. Okay, and if I do type history, right, this will tell you what are the just commands that I did work with. Okay, so what we have learned today, we have learned a branching strategy, which is like most of the developers, they create a feature branch from master branch, and they make their changes and they test it from feature. Then everything goes well, they create a pull request, and they merge feature to the master. And we did learn some basic git commands: git commit, git push, git pull, git add, git clone, and a git merge, and how to create a new branch. And we learn how to create a new repository, and we learn how to add SSH keys to the our GitHub account. And yeah, this is all about the Git, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you like this video, please share this video, and please subscribe Run TV Social for more updates. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening. Bye bye.